What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony with the Wrenched Out Garage. Thank you for tuning in. Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about tuning your truck, your car, your motorcycle, doesn't matter, but we're going to be talking about doing a basic tune-up, a couple of the components of it, and some tips and tricks, at least for your ignition system when you go to do that as well. I'm Anthony, this is the Wrenched Out Garage. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and check us out on Instagram and Facebook. So let's dive into this. So recently I'm working on our new project vehicle, and I went ahead and started changing the spark plug wires. I did a distributor cap and rotor, and here's just a brief example of, you know, one of those things that when you get a used vehicle, or if you get a new used vehicle, you'll want to walk through the steps. Now, I always change the oil, change the air filter, change the fuel filter, check all the fluids, and then more often than not, I'll change the plugs, wires, and in this case, cap and rotor. Now, some of the basic stuff, there's some just slight kind of corrosion. I know it's going to be hard to see in there. A little bit of corrosion in there, kind of difficult to remove, so it must have been some time since the last change. Now, the wires, they still look like they're in fair shape. I may keep these because these are OEM wires, or appear to be. Overall, everything looks okay, but obviously I can't tell on the inside of the wires. Here's the rotor. So we were getting a little bit of scorch marks or wear marks on the inside. Anyways, real basic stuff in which I suggest that you do on every vehicle you have, and then once a year, I would walk right back through the process. And here's the simple reason why I do this with every new used vehicle, regardless of if the previous owner or company tells me, yeah, we did a tune-up on it, is very simple. I check all this stuff, and if it needs to be replaced, I replace it, because that is my starting point for moving forward. I know that I just eliminated the ignition system as far as the wires, plugs, cap, and rotor from the equation of being a problem. Also, while you do this, you'll be able to tell things. In this case, these are just, you know, they're fairly... There's a little bit of wear on them, nothing too crazy. They've been sitting in there for an awful long time. You can tell just simply because of the rusting on the exterior plating. So the plugs are old, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they are worn. The little diodes on the end are worn. The tip is worn. So it's definitely, you know, I would say it's due for the spark plugs. Now, a couple of tricks with this that I would highly suggest to you, especially on older vehicles. So one of these, I don't remember which one of these was really difficult to get out, and that was because it started to almost rust to the side of the block, which obviously is going to be a very large problem if you have to try to remove one and it doesn't come out. Now, a tip that I suggest for the spark plugs itself, obviously check them. You know, make sure they're not scorched, or there's any pools of oil or any kind of any abnormal markings on them, so forth and so on, as far as spark plug goes. But when you go to replace them, take your new spark plugs. I highly suggest staying within OEM spec, unless the manufacturer suggests otherwise. But I always go OEM spec because I want to have the vehicle operate to its maximum potential under the standard load. Now, if you're running a high performance vehicle, different spark plugs are warranted. By all means, get after them. In our case, we went back to an updated version of these NGKs in the vehicle we're working on. Now, the tip I was talking about is a couple of things. One, I use anti-seize on the threads of this. I just put a little bit on there just to ensure that this thing doesn't seize into the block for any reason. You have that's a huge problem. So I do that. The other thing that I do, whether it's a distributor or maybe it's just wire, or distributor cap and rotor, or just wires, I always chase down the wires, take pictures, and do it one at a time. Now, that's going to save you a lot of time in the back end if you don't know the firing order of the cap to the wires to the block. Now, the vehicle we're working on is super simple, but I generally do that. Now, the other thing I do is, and this is my first time using this new can by CRC. This thing is awesome. It's dielectric. I suggest putting a little in both sides of the boots. You're going to get a lot more life. You're not going to have the deterioration of that metal to metal contact over time, with vibration, with possible leaks, so forth and so on. So I hit it with dielectric. This does do really well. You just pop the top, squeeze it. It fills up anything that you're looking at doing. Also, any kind of exposed or open electrical connections, this will prevent it from rusting and wearing out. So I highly suggest that as well. I'll put links to both of these products down below if you're interested. I highly suggest both. In addition to this, I try to stay with OEM unless there's something specific I'm looking for. Obviously, I've done on higher performance vehicles where I'm going for ignition modifications, higher end plug wires. Most of the time, I do a lot of research in regard to that, specifically based around what I'm trying to accomplish. Now, that pretty much covers this basis. The cool part about doing tune-ups now, no matter what it is, you can YouTube, you can look at some really great forums. I have seen some of the best information driven from forums, more than likely that your vehicle has, to where people are giving you your lube specs, they're giving you gap specs, they're giving you your weights on your oils. Everything is right there. All you have to do is follow that. And it's just super, super cool simply because it's way easier. And you can also read what people have said about, hey, this is an upgrade. Well, did it do anything for the vehicle, or were there problems? So forth and so on. Once again, tune up your vehicles, keep them tuned. That's how you're gonna get the longest life out of the vehicle. And from a service standpoint, you're going to be eliminating those possible issues that come with, a bad fuel filter, that come with a bad battery, that come with misfiring because one spark plug's either damaged or maybe it just exceeded its life, or a plug wire that has been deteriorating, and just it goes on and on and on and on. Your engine oil, your air filter, depriving your motor of air because it's clogged, and I'm not going to drudge on any more than that. Hey guys, I appreciate you checking this out. Hopefully this little quick tutorial on this helps you a little bit. And then one last tip is, if you're going to do a tune-up, another quick way of doing it is obviously do your research on your parts. Go to the parts store, get those parts. You can check all the stuff online or order it online, and then you can do it all together while you're waiting or while you're building that plan. Research how to do it. If you want to know how to do the fuel filter, look into that stuff. More often than not, every one of those things tells you the tools. So when you go to do that, you can have all your parts here. These are all laid out because this is the intake side of the project that I'm working on. I had the exhaust side, I had all of my spark plugs are marked, all of this stuff. I lay it all out, I have my tools prepared, and then I just go and do it. There's not a lot of hurdles. Now, obviously, stuff does come up, shit breaks. Sometimes the bolt size that's recommended online is not correct. You'll encounter other issues, but those won't be a part of it. So that wraps it up. Once again, guys, hey, I really do appreciate you checking out our videos here on YouTube. It means a lot to me personally, and of course to the Wrenched Out Garage. Again, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys have not subscribed, hit subscribe. We got a lot of great projects going on here in the garage and of course outside as well. You're not gonna wanna miss a thing. I'm Anthony, this is the Wrenched Out Garage. Hey guys, if you're out riding or driving, do it safely, and we'll see you in the next video.